We will discuss GSM. So in the previous lecture, we have discussed the introduction and the network elements of GSM. GSM is Group Special Mobile or Global System for Mobile. Earlier name of GSM was Group Special Mobile, but now it is known as Global System for Mobile. So here the deployment of GSM throughout the worldwide coverage is more than 3 billion subscribers uses GSM technology. It covers 80% of the whole world market share. 930 networks are there in 222 countries and the regions. So it captures almost 80% of the communication market. So here we are having GSM standards. The various standards of GSM are, they are basically divided into 12 series. The series are numbered as from 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 12. So these standards are specified by the ETSI organization, that is the European Telecommunication Standard Organization. So here the names are specified in terms of their series number. So just like the series number 01 will describe the GSM standard, the general GSM standard. Series 2 will specify the service aspects. Series 3 will specify the network aspects. 4 will be specified by the mobile station and base station interface and protocol units. So likewise, all the standards are defined with their particular series number. So every specified area will have the particular serial number into the GSM standard. So these standards are accepted by the whole countries. So this is the network layout, or you can say the GSM architecture. In the previous lecture, we also discussed some of the network elements in the architecture. So here it is the broad view of network element of GSM. We are having the BTS, base transceiver stations, the BSC, base subscriber center, the MSC, mobile switching center, the BSS, the base station subsystems, and the various other registers, the log registers like VLR, visitor location register, HLR, home location register, and the other authentication centers, the gateways, and the public switch telephone networks. So these are the network elements in which the GSM will be incorporated. Basically, the GSM layout is standardized. It will involve the elements of the network and the communication interfaces. The standard layout allows for the use of equipment from different suppliers. So here in this diagram, the GSM interfaces and components are shown. Here we are having the mobile station, MS, your mobile device itself. Just see the diagram. Having mobile station, the mobile device, it is connected with the BTS. BTS are your mobile towers. So they are connected through an air interface. And then the BTS is further connected with the BSC. So the interface that is used to connect BTS with the BSC is the ABIS interface. And then the interface that is used to connect the BSC with the MSC, that interface is known as A interface. And then the MSC is connected with the other MSC to gateway MSC to the interface E. Now the MSC is further connected with its various registers, various databases. Those databases are your home location register, visitor location register, and equipment identity registers. So here the interfaces are described. When MSC will connect to the visitor location register, the interface that it uses is B interface. When the VLR of one MSC is connected with the VLR of another MSC, then the specified interface is G. And when MSC is connected with the equipment identity register database, then the interface used is F. So these kind of interfaces are used for various connections. The MSC, when connected with the home location register, the interface used is C. So when HLR is connected with the VLR, then the interface used is T. So these are the various interfaces that are specified into the GSM standard. Is it clear? Interfaces are clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a functional block diagram of GSM. With the GSM phone, we have the connectivity with the hardware components. So into the mobile, GSM mobile, we will use a SIM. SIM is subscriber identity module that is incorporated into the GSM mobile. So here next block is your base transceiver station, BTS. Here you will see the diagram of BTS, the various BTS installation systems, the antenna systems, and the BTS radio cabinets that are used as transmitters and receivers. So have you seen the BTS into your region? These kind of cards are seen by everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good. So BTS is a set of transceivers having the transmitters and receivers. So GSM BTS can host up to 16 transmitters and receivers. One transmitter and receiver can be shared by 8 users. The main role of transmitter and receiver is to provide conversation between traffic data on the network side and the radio frequency communication on the mobile side. So depending upon the application, it can be configured as macrocell, microcell, and omnisectoral antennas. So these are your BTS specifications. Next is base station controller, BSC, and transcoding unit route. So BSC plays an important role in small digital exchange. It can be connected to many BTS, and it offloads a great deal of processing from the mobile switching center. So you have seen the switching exchange of telephone networks, the landline networks. Just kind of that, we are having a BSC in the mobile world, in the just like an exchange. So it can be connected, the number of BTS can be connected with the one BSC. The main function of BSC are to provide the smooth handoffs, to provide power control, to provide clock distribution, and other operational and maintenance responsibilities. These are handled by the BSC. The next unit that is associated with the BSC is TRAU. It is known to be a transcoding and rate adaptation unit. It is basically responsible for transcoding the user data from 60 kilobytes per second to standard ISDN rates of 64 kilobytes per second. So it can physically reside within either the BSC side or the MSC side. When the TRAU unit resides on the MSC sides, then it will provide the changes in other backhaul applications. It will support 4 users over a single TDMA channel. The next network element is mobile switching center, MSC. So On the diagram it shows here, it is the MSC, Mobile Switching Center. It is basically responsible for connecting the mobile to the landline side. So when you want to connect your telephone networks, the landline telephones with your mobile, you want to establish call from your landline to your mobile, then the MSC will serve this purpose. So it is commonly designed as a regular integrated services digital network switch with some added functionality for mobility support. One GSM network can have more than one MSC. One of the MSC has an added functionality for communication with public networks. So when one MSC is connected with another MSC, then the second MSC is known as gateway MSC. So all calls from the outside networks are routed through this gateway MSC. So now with the MSC, we are having various databases that are connected with it. Those are your home location register HLR, your location register VLR, and authentication center AUs. Now the responsibilities of home location register are, will store the databases for permanent or semi-permanent data associated with the users. So every local user is having registered with this home location register. So the information the home location register will store are, it will store the International Mobile Subscriber Identity Number, IMSI. It will store service subscription information, the supplementary services given to the user, the current location of the subscriber. So these kind of information will be stored into the home location register. So HLR is usually implemented as an integral part of the MSC. The next database associated with the MSC is VLR. It is Visitor Location Register. So VLR is basically a temporary database that keeps the record information about the users within the service area of the MSC. So usually there are one VLR per MSC. The main task of VLR is to reduce the number of queries of HLR. When the mobile registers on the system, its information is copied from HLR to the VLR. So VLR is usually integrated with the switch. So mostly all the visitor users, the roaming users, will register themselves into this VLR register, and the details of roaming users will be entered through HLR, home location register. So those entries will be copied from HLR into the VLR, so that every roaming user get registered into a particular MSC in which the user is registered in the current state. So is it clear? HLR and VLR responsibilities?
No मैम, क्लियर नहीं है ये.
दोबारा रिपीट करूं?
Yes मैम, अपनी लैंग्वेज में बट.
Yes, ma'am.
ओके. जो HLR है, HLR इज होम लोकेशन रजिस्टर. इस HLR रजिस्टर में हमारे पास वो वाले यूजर्स की इंफॉर्मेशन रहेगी जो लोकल यूजर्स हैं, ठीक है. और जो VLR है वो आप विजिटर लोकेशन रजिस्टर के डेटा एंटर करेंगे जो कि रोमिंग यूजर्स हैं, ठीक है. तो लोकल डेटाबेस जो है वो होम लोकेशन रजिस्टर में स्टोर रहेगा, और जो रोमिंग यूजर्स का डेटाबेस है वो विजिटर लोकेशन रजिस्टर में स्टोर रहेगा, ठीक है. होम लोकेशन रजिस्टर में जो एंट्रीज रहेंगी, जो इंफॉर्मेशन रहेगी ऑफ सब्सक्राइबर की, वो होगी जो सब्सक्राइबर सर्विसेज यूज कर रहा है. करंट लोकेशन सब्सक्राइबर की क्या है, जो पर्टिकुलर IMSI नंबर है यूजर का वो स्टोर रहेगा, ठीक है. और जो अदर सब्सक्रिप्शन इंफॉर्मेशन है, जो पैकेज लोकल यूजर यूज कर रहा है, वो उसकी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन होम लोकेशन रजिस्टर में रहेगी, ठीक है. और विजिटर लोकेशन रजिस्टर में जो भी रोमिंग यूजर्स एंटर हो रहे हैं इनटू पर्टिकुलर MSC, ठीक है, उनकी जो इंफॉर्मेशन है वो विजिटर लोकेशन रजिस्टर में अपडेट रहेगी. विजिटर लोकेशन रजिस्टर जो है वो अपनी कोलैबोरेशन एस्टेब्लिश करेगा विद द होम लोकेशन रजिस्टर, ठीक है. तो जो भी रोमिंग यूजर है उसकी जो पहले उसकी प्रीवियस जो इंफॉर्मेशन है जो कि उसके पर्टिकुलर होम लोकेशन रजिस्टर में स्टोर्ड है, वो वहां से कॉपी की जाएगी इनटू द विजिटर लोकेशन रजिस्टर. वहां से इंफॉर्मेशन की अपडेशन स्टार्ट रहेगी। ठीक है, तो ये सारी जो एंट्रीज हैं वो सारी एमएससी के थ्रू अपडेट रहेंगी। नाउ इट इज क्लियर?
Yes, ma'am.
गुड। उसके बाद हमारा नेक्स्ट रजिस्टर है ऑथेंटिकेशन सेंटर AUC. It is also known as Equipment Identity Register EIR. Again, this AUC and EIR are the integral part of home location register. Equipment Identity Register is basically responsible for tracking the equipment and to provide its eligibility for a particular service. Authentication center जो है AUC center, it is responsible for data encryption. ठीक है, for all the security algorithms, AUC center will be responsible, and for other equipment details, the EIR register will be responsible for that. Let us suppose your mobile device is stolen somewhere, so all the information related to your device, the location, the other information, the TMSI number, the IMSI number, these kind of information will be stored into the EIR register. Further, the EIR register also has three lists: white list, black list and grey list. ठीक है, अब व्हाइट लिस्ट में वो वाले यूजर्स होंगे जो कि अप्रूव्ड हैं, ब्लैक लिस्ट में वो यूजर्स होंगे जो कि यूजर्स बैंड है, जिनका कुछ क्रिमिनल रिकॉर्ड है और जिनको मोबाइल कॉल से डीबार किया हुआ है. So in blacklist, those user enlisted there, and in grey list we are having a certain services, special group of users are there in grey list that are used for tracking purpose. So in this AUC and EIR, this kind of information is carried out. In authentication center, mostly the security, the encryption and description algorithms are there, like A3 algorithm and A5 algorithm. So these are resides in AUC. So जो भी आपकी calls हैं, that should be encrypted. Okay, it should not be listened to with the other users. So for that, encryption algorithms are used, and they are in AUC, authentication centers. So the responsibilities are clear for AUC and EIR.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. अब जैसे मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया कि GSM में हमारे पास डिफरेंट इंटरफेसेस हैं जिसके थ्रू सारे नेटवर्क एलिमेंट्स आपस में इंटरकनेक्ट होते हैं. So the interface that is used between the mobile station and the GSM network is known as UM interface. So it will examine the channels, the multiple access schemes, and the physical level and logical level connections. Frequency band allocation for uplink and for downlink, these are enlisted for various GSM systems. जैसे यहाँ पर आप टेबल में देख रहे हो, we are having different standards of GSM with their frequency bands. तो यहाँ पर enlisted है जैसे GSM 850, GSM 900, डिजिटल कम्युनिकेशन स्टैंडर्ड DCS 1800. ये जो हमारे पास वैल्यूज गिवन है ये हैं फ्रीक्वेंसी बैंड्स की वैल्यू. ठीक है, जो उनसे फ्रीक्वेंसी बैंड्स पर आपका सिस्टम वर्क कर रहा है. जैसे GSM 850 है, इट वर्क्स ऑन 850 फ्रीक्वेंसी बैंड. ठीक है, तो इसकी अपनी एक अपलिंक फ्रीक्वेंसी है और अपनी एक डाउनलिंक फ्रीक्वेंसी है. अपलिंक फ्रीक्वेंसी आपकी फॉरवर्ड चैनल से रिलेटेड है और डाउनलिंक फ्रीक्वेंसी आपकी रिवर्स चैनल से रिलेटेड. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम GSM 850 बैंड की बात कर रहे हैं, then the allocated frequency band is 850. Its forward channel frequency or uplink frequency is 824 megahertz to 849 megahertz, and its reverse frequency band is having frequency 869 megahertz to 894 megahertz. Okay, and the number of channels allocated into this frequency band is from 128 to 251. So in this, every frequency band has its certain set of uplink and downlink frequencies and a specified channel numbers. TDMA access scheme. Next is time division multiple access. जैसे मैंने पहले भी डिस्कस किया था about the FDMA, TDMA and SDMA techniques. So the TDMA is the technique that is incorporated into the GSM network. All the GSM mobiles uses this TDMA scheme for multiple access. So multiple users operates on the same frequency band, but not at the same time. The number of users can be accommodated in GSM onto the time shared basis. So time slots will be provided for every users in which they can call, they can have the access to the channel into their particular time slot. The various advantages of TDMA are it has low complexity, it provides smooth handovers, it has different user rates. Disadvantages like it has synchronization bits overhead. It has the guard times, which is another overhead, and it is heavily affected by the multipath fading. So interference is a problem from the multipath signals into the GSM net. This is a broader view in which how this GSM system uses the TDMA system. यहाँ पर आप डायग्राम में देख रहे हो कि आपके पास नंबर ऑफ यूजर्स हैं, लाइक यूजर 1, यूजर 2 up to user 16. We have n number of users. ठीक है, so based on their time slot, they will have access to the channel. So all the mobile users, they have a connection with the BTS base transceiver stations, and the multiple user can have a particular time slot in which they can use their forward channel and reverse channel depending upon the time slot they have allocated. So we can also say that GSM incorporate the combination of features of FDMA and TDMA. TDMA supports 8 full rate users. So at a particular time slot, 8 users can have access to a particular channel on time shared basis. So in GSM TDMA system, the time frames are used. Here the digital frames are used in which different timing is allocated for every process. So for that we are having different time burst known as GSM burst. Now in this we are having the normal burst, the frequency burst, the synchronization burst, the frequency correction channel burst, dummy burst. So these are the 5 types of the burst, or you can say the frames in which the data can be processed through TDMA frame. So every TDMA frame will have normal burst. This is the diagram for normal burst, in which we are having the fields like trailing field, traffic field, flag field, training sequence, traffic signaling, and a trail field. Normal burst is basically used to carry information for both control channel and the traffic channels. So the normal burst will carry information of the normal data that user want to transmit and some synchronization information in the form of overhead. So it will define 8 training sequence that is assigned in a color code mode. So it is the normal burst is having both forward and reverse link. अब यहाँ पर आप डायग्राम देख रहे हो नॉर्मल बस की, जहाँ पर आपकी जो ट्रेनिंग डेटा है, जो आपका डेटा जिसको आपने सेंड करना है, यूजर जो सेंड करना चाहता है, दैट इज द ट्रेनिंग ट्रैफिक डेटा, और सिग्नलिंग डेटा है कंट्रोल डेटा और द सिंक्रोनाइजेशन डेटा. So this is specified in the GSM standard that it will have 3 trail bits. Trail bits are used for indicating the starting and end of the burst. So it contains the 3 bits that will indicate that now it is the starting of the normal burst or ending of the normal burst. Then we are having 57 bits that are used for carrying information and control signal. And next is your flag bit that is used to separate between the two sequences, the training sequence and the traffic sequence. So the user information is encoded in 114 bits and it has 34 overhead bits into the normal burst. ऐसे ही आपकी सेकेंड TDM में burst है, that is known as frequency correction burst. It is also known as F burst. So it will have, this is the format. It will basically provide the mobile with precise reference frequency for broadcast control channel. It has 142 fixed bit sequence of all zeros, and it has 3 starting bits and 3 ending bits. So when this will arrive, then it is known to be a frequency correction burst. So it will basically provide the special characteristics for the control channel, and it will provide the frequency at the peak of 67.7 kilohertz for the carrier signal. The next burst is synchronization burst. It is known as S burst. In this we are having again the format having 3 trail bits, 39 synchronization bits, 64 training sequence, and then again 39 synchronization bits and 3 trail bits. So synchronization bits are basically used to synchronize the transmitting and receiving signals. The same sync sequence can be used for all the GSM networks. Next is dummy burst. Dummy burst has the 3 fields, 3 trail bits, and 142 predefined sequence that carries zeros and ones and 3 ending bits. It is also used in broadcast control channel. Basically, it is used to control the power signals, and it will support the handovers. So that's all for today.